Hi, and welcome back to Learn Visual FoxPro. A common feature of any Windows application is a menu. Visual FoxPro itself has a menu bar and several menu items and menu options that allows us to carry out various actions based on what we desire to do within the environment or the interface. Visual FoxPro itself is not only a database management system, but it's also a application development tool. And one of the things it allows us to do is to, as you've seen before, create forms. We can create a database, Visual FoxPro itself being the database engine, but we can also create menus and even toolbars. And so today we're going to take a look at the menu designer that allows us to create menus such as we're seeing here in Visual FoxPro itself. To create a menu, we're going to use the project manager. So we're going to open a project that we created in our last lesson, and we'll modify project. Put a question mark here. At least I'm getting IntelliSense, so I'll use that. And we open up our project again. I would typically just go to File and select the item from the most recently used list. Okay, so to create a menu, we go to the Other tab, and here Menus is the first option. We don't have an existing one, so we don't use the Add, so we'll have nothing there. So we'll go with a New, and of course there are two types. We can create a menu, which functions similar to the main Visual FoxPro menu here, or we can create shortcut menus, which allows us to do stuff like when we right mouse click on an item, we see a shortcut menu. Okay, alright, so to go New and click on Menu here, we get the menu designer. And of course the command to do this from the command window would be create menu. Okay, so now we're using the project designer and we've opened up a menu. Now the menu designer has changed very little since the old FoxPro for DOS days. The interface is still the same, and the menu designer is not object oriented. It's not like a form, which is object based. The menu is strictly code based, and in fact the menu designer is simply a shortcut. When we use the menu designer, Visual FoxPro allows us to, from the menu, notice this appears with the menu designer, allows us to generate the code that will allow us to display our menu. So it's not object based, but of course there are tools that allows us to objectify, so to speak, menus. So let's go ahead and explain this. So what we want to do is to create a few menu items. And so to create the prompt here allows us to set up our menu bar. And notice the menu level here. We have options, we have results, we have prompt. Of course we have these buttons here and we have the preview. So we're going to look at all those. So the default level is the menu bar level, and here is an example of a menu bar where we have File, Edit, View. So the items listed here, File, Edit, View, Tools, those are the menu bar items, and we specify those under the prompt column. So if I wanted to create my own file menu, I want to put my file here. Okay. And the results can either be a sub menu, which is a default. It could also be a command, it could be a pad name, or it could be a procedure. Okay. So let's go down and create my edit. I'll create my view, my tools, and I'll just put my help here. So these are my menu bar items, and right away I can preview these, and you should see these names, my file, my edit, my view, my tools, my help, appear here where the standard Visual FoxPro menu previously appeared. So by clicking preview, I've replaced the old Visual FoxPro menu, and now my menu options are there. But I did not create any items for them, so all I have are just the menu items. And then as I click, you see the prompt here. Okay, so we're going to expand on this a little bit. Again, I want to put some hotkeys. So I want F to be the hotkey, backslash greater than sign, as always. That's standard throughout in FoxPro. So if you don't wish to use the mouse to activate the menu, you can just press Alt and then the highlighted letter. Okay, so we can preview that again, but you won't see that because I did not use a shortcut key to access the menu. Anyway, so we want to create, just like the file, have new, open, close, and exit. We're going to just create a few items under our file menu bar. Menu item. So we click on the create button here, and then we'll place one level down, and it tells you that you're in the from the menu bar. You're now working at the my file level, and then we're given the same prompts to do, and each level basically appears the same way, and we go back and forth a level by using the menu level drop down. So to go back up one level or to go down a level, I simply click create or edit depending on if I have items already in there. So I want to go with new and close. I can put a bar by using backslash minus sign, and that's it. And then I could have printer setup. You can have another bar here, and I could then have exit. And of course I leave these the default results. We can change them at any time. So now if I preview, when I click on my file, I get all the items that I just specified under my file. Notice the bars and close and so forth. The others have nothing under them as yet. And so I'll just quickly go through and put some things in there. If I were to click on this, notice the button is edit because item exists. For new items, the create is the default option. So we go edit, and of course we can copy, paste, and cut. I'll just keep this one short. I'll go back up, go to view, and we'll say status bar and toolbar. And for tools, we'll say calculator. And what do they have here? Okay, so we'll put task list. Just a few items to fill it in, of course, and then help. We'll have, what do they have? About. Okay, so we could have about. We could have technical support. Go to website, whatever. And of course, again, you can preview and see just exactly how your menu will appear before you actually do anything. Now, what has changed since the old FoxPro days? The old DOS. I was about to say DOS Pro. The FoxPro DOS days is that we now have, from the options, there are a few more things that we can do, such as we now, with version 8 and up, I'm not sure about 7, didn't play around much with 7, if you can put pictures in your menu, but here we can put pictures, and I can choose pictures from a resource file, or if I had an image file myself, I could simply go out and find it. In fact, let's see if I can navigate up to where FoxPro is installed and see if there are any images here. Gallery, graphics, and this is just an example. I'm going to use this Excel icon. Let's see if that will work. If I preview on my help, yeah, so the icon appears there to the left of the menu item. And of course, let's look at the help here. I could actually borrow the icon, this question mark, from the Visual FoxPro. And I can actually, all these icons that are available here on the default Visual FoxPro menu item, I can actually use them. I can access every one of these and put them in my own menu as I see fit. So I'm going to borrow the question sign from the help, and I'm going to borrow a new and open and so forth. Okay, so let's go to, I'll just put that on technical help. So I click on the options, and here you'll see there's some other things in here that I'm going to talk about in just a second. So let's go and select that question. So what we'll do, we'll go to resource. I choose resource instead of file. Click on the ellipsis button here, and then it gives me the list of all the menu bar items that are in the default Visual FoxPro system menu. So all I need to do is navigate down to help, wherever that is. Okay, here we go. So there's technical support, which I could use that one, or I could, because the question sign is on the Microsoft Visual FoxPro help, I'll use that one. And I click OK, and see, I can tell right away that I will get the question sign. Okay, so now some other things here. I could put a shortcut key or a hotkey on the on my menu option by simply pressing any key that I want, or key combination that I want on the keyboard. So let's say for technical support, okay, actually let's close this. Let's go back to About Visual FoxPro. We just want to make this F1 accessible. I click in here, notice it says press any key, and I simply press F1 key, and then a label is set. Whenever you press F1, it will access this menu item, and of course we can also display text to the right of the menu item if we so desire. So let's preview that. So now we have F1, which is the text that we see there, and also too, when we run our menu and we press F1, the option that is called whenever we click on the About Learn Visual FoxPro item would also be called automatically. So let's go back up and edit some of these. So we can go options, and here we'll come back and we'll notice that there are other options here, such as a skip for and message. Actually, I'm going to show you how to use the message. Message allows us to basically put messages to associate messages with each menu item, just to give the user a bit more detail into what this menu item does. Let's see if the default Visual FoxPro. Notice when I click on File, in my status bar it says Creates, Open, Saves, Print Files, or Quits Visual FoxPro. So the File option message gives me a synopsis or a quick overview of all the things that I can do from the file menu. As I go through or hover over each menu item, the message changes. When I'm on New, it says Create a new file, and so forth. So we can do the same if we choose to use the status bar in our programs, and we choose to give the user some help on the menu items. And again, we do that in the options screen. And so create a new my new file. So that's my message that I want there. And traditionally, when I create multi-user applications, the easiest way to restrict users is to do it from the menu, where there are menu options that, based on your access level, you simply cannot access, and that's how I tend to use the skip for. So I can conditionally enable or disable a menu using the skip for, and we'll see some examples of that. And there's some other things in here that I'll touch on later as well. So we just added a create a new file, and let's preview that and see what happens here. So there's nothing there. When I over new, notice that my message now changes to create a new my new file, and then the rest of them have nothing, and so forth. Okay, so that's, again, we could have added the using the resource. I could have used the new as well to get the nice little new button, the new graphic there. And I don't think there's one for close. No, there's no graphic for close. I can insert a new option here if I wish. I can simply go insert and then type what I want this option to be, which is open, and I'll get a nice graphic. Open. And so these are some of the graphic is one of the new things to the menu designer. Not much, as I said, has changed. This and the shortcut key, the skip forward, the message was always there. I think even the bar number was always there. The bar number allows us to use to assign a number to the bar that we can access in our code. And I'll show an example. I don't want to get into this right now. I'll show an example later. Okay, so let's go ahead now and generate our menu. Of course, the menu have various options such as insert, which you've seen me do. We can delete, we can move items around. Of course, we can preview, and they're all these options are all available here as well. Again, when you create a menu, we click OK and we save, and we'll leave it as menu 1. I'll go back to where I want to save this. Tutorial lesson 3. I'll leave it as menu 1. Okay. We have to generate code for our menu. Now, I've never done this before. Let me try and run this and see what happens here. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So just by clicking run, Visual FoxPro actually compiles the menu for me, and it creates a MPR file, which is actually code. And I'm going to modify this so you can actually see it. So we'll go menu 1 MPR. So this is the code that is generated for me when I create a menu. So these are all FoxPro commands that you could actually type out yourself, though I don't know why, to create your menu. And so we see all the options there, all the pads. Define a pad, and when you click on the pad, on pad, do that, pop up this pop-up menu, and so forth. In the old days, I think before the menu designer, this is what we had to do in the old Fox base days. Okay, and D-base days. All right, so we'll close that, and of course you run your menu as you would any code using the do command. So do and the name of the menu file. So just MPR is short for menu program. Notice that my menu is now showing, and the old Visual FoxPro menu is gone, even though I am not running an application. So a great way to test out your menu. All right, and I have this default system menu again because I have the command window open. To get my default menu back, I use the command set system menu or sys menu to default, and that will bring our old FoxPro menu back the way we like it. Okay, so one more thing I want to show. Let's take this out. What I want to do, I'm going to actually set up the menus to call the forms and to run these codes when you click on the various menu options. So let's modify, edit, and let's create a new menu. Let's go back up here, and I'll call this test. And I'll say call form 2, call new form. Okay, and so we have demo code, run demo code, and run test funcs. Okay, so for this, I could either go procedure or command. I'll just go command, and command is any command I would type from my command window. So to call a form, to run a form from the command window, I would go do form and the name of the form. I simply type the same thing here. So do form, and the name of the form is my form 2. So do form my form 2. And for all of these, I'm just going to use commands. I'll call these code here demo. So I'll say do demo func. Let's see, do test. So this is how we wire up the menu options to actual code. Okay, so I'll put a shortcut key on this one. Make this F2. Make this one F3, and so forth. And this one I'm going to make it to be Control D for demo, and this one I'm going to make it Control T. Okay, so I've trapped those keys. Let's preview. So we've created a new item, and there we go. Alright, so we'll close. Actually, what I want to do is generate the code from here. So I'll just generate, save, yes, and I can change the name that will be generated. I could put PRG here if I wanted to. I would tend to leave it at MPR so I know that this is a menu program file. And overwrite, yes. Close the menu designer. And let's run the menu. Let's see what happens. So I run the menu. We have these. Of course, these do nothing because I've not added any code to the click event, so to speak. In test, let's call forms, and so now we have the data entry form running, and of course I can do all I want here, etc. Exit, and from test again, let's close project. Project appears here. Close the project, and I won't mess with the command window. I'll leave that, and I can call this form. Close that, and we can run the code from here, and I can run this code as well. Again, shortcut keys, I could go F2, run data entry, again because it's here in the menu. I could run F3, I could run F2 again, and F2 again, see if it supports multiple instances of the same form. Yeah, so I keep, every time I press F2, a new instance of the form is created. And I got an error there. Okay, we close that one. And Control D to run the demo file. Let's clear screen so you can see that. Control D to run that, and I can run Control T to run the other one. So, and then of course to set my menu back to default, I use set sysmenu to default. I do plan to do a video on creating an application from scratch, from start to finish. It will be a very simple application, but then you'll get to see all of the things that we've looked at in separate lessons come together, creating tables. Using the project manager, we'll create a database, we'll set up a database, we'll create some forms to manipulate the data, edit, add, all this stuff. We'll look at reports, which we have not looked at yet, and we'll look at a menu, and also how to set up our main PRG file to set up the environment. So when we run our application, we would not see the command window. We would probably hide this toolbar. We, of course, would have our own menu there, and it would look like a real Windows application. So we're going to do that in an upcoming lesson.